Good evening. I'm sure that had the dinner not been there, we would have only been five of us. But it's always a pleasure to be here in Ahmedabad. I won't take much of your time because I know time is pressing here. Uh, so this is the topic, urbanization, concentrated versus decentralized. As the word says it, I don't need to go much into the details for the same. Urbanization, simple thought process, is shifting of population from urban areas to urban cities. From rural areas to urban cities, sorry. Won't go much into that. You all know about this, the urban divide. The consensus of 1901 for the urban thing was 11.4 as against the rest in rural areas. In 2022, it's 35.87 in India. At this point of time, somewhere around 36% or 36.5% is what I gauge. But the world population, if you look at it, for developing countries, by 2050 would be 64, for developed 86. India would somewhere there, probably by then would be 85. Mohit is very good with numbers, so probably 85. That's the scale, that's the disparity that we are seeing. The disparity reduces with the years. And as it goes, this is till 2011 that I could get, but by 2023, like I said, it is around 36, so 70% around. Now what happens here is that the most important thing is the urban context. The population increases on its own. India is developing, it's increasing. But the most important factor is migration, right? What do you see here is wildebeest, right? All animals, including birds, they migrate. Why do they migrate? They migrate for food, they migrate for water. How different are we as a population? We do the same, right? This will cease when this $5 trillion economy of India surpasses the 27 trillion of USA at this point of time. This will stop. This will cease somewhere in between, wherein this migration will stop. We are talking about here is intercity, but we should also look at the migration that we do at the international level. Migration is one big factor, and with migration has its own issues and problems as well. So, what would be the issues of human migration? No sense of belonging. If I am from Baroda, I am settling somewhere in Kanpur, I have no sense of belonging. Because my homeland is always my place. I have no belonging to where I go. That's the problem wherein the kids of defense people have, who keep on shuttling between, they have amazing amount of exposure, but their friend list is very diverse. Might not be the best of the closest of the friends. They can gel with anyone and everyone, but the close factor might be an issue, which is later felt in the later part of life. Away from familiar people, loneliness, loss of identity, because you're searching for your identity all the time because you don't have anyone who is judging you. A lot of time it feels good for us when nobody judges us, but a lot of time you do need to be judged as well. Mental issues, depression, increase in aggression, which is a relative force of all these factors put together, which also may lead to crime. So what are advantages of urbanization? If we now look at it, urbanization is necessary and you cannot stop it. So advantages of urbanization would be better employment options, that we get good jobs, we get better transportation facilities from one part to the other. We have better education opportunities as we go to the larger cities or larger countries. We have better internet connections. These days it is mandatory. We have better wages because as you progress to a better place, you get better wages, and better modernization equipment and better healthcare for sure. These are the advantages of urbanization. So urbanization in India is relatively is good because that's a linkage between the rural and the urban. More the urbanization, more is the need for rural goods. So the trade is better. A. B. Remittances are there. So if you look at it, if there is someone going to US, he sends money back into the villages and the village home is bettered. They send money and the roads get better. So the remittance is coming always play a major role for the city or the homeland that they dwell in, because there will be always someone back there. Like the way we see in most of the Gujarat villages, the remittance is coming from outside, or say Kerala, for example, the remittance is coming in, bring a lot of good things for the homeland. But the disadvantage is here for concentrated urbanization. When I say urbanization, you have concentrated urbanization that we are looking at. That would be housing issues. Here you will find everything from Bombay. Ruchika, that's your place. So overcrowding, you have unemployment, you have formation of slums, and hence you have water sanitary problems that we all know of. Like Bangalore, for example, you have poor health, spread of disease, and traffic congestion, of course, and more importantly, urban crime. This ultimately is because of the migratory things, and here we need to understand that this migration is of two kinds. Concentrated migration creates an unnecessary hike in the realty. The realty market becomes so unaffordable that the family cannot migrate. It's only the breadwinner which migrates. When a breadwinner migrates, he has to fend for two places. He's lonely, his everything is on his own. So you have this Bihar ke 10 people, 15 people staying in one room in Mumbai, sending the remittances back. But the family is not with them. That is where the urban crime comes into picture because of depression or whatever aspirations or lust or whatever. That is where that offsets. So when I say urbanization, I am focusing here on concentrated urbanization. So when we look at it, do we create more Manhattans in Mumbai? Is the question. Fantastic skylines. But at the end of the day, they're mega cities with complex urban issues. And that is what we need to understand. So if we break them down, are we more clogging the future cities? Is that what we are looking at? Is this our aspiration of making cities which are only focused on to, be there, show them that we are the tallest tower? Are we looking at that? Or we can have simple solution of creating satellite cities. Satellite cities which are a part or an extension of an urban city, but not the way Ahmedabad is growing, Delhi is growing, that one after the other, you have areas getting into it. We are talking of separate cities. We are talking of separate townships, which are self-sufficient. Could that be a reason wherein a green belt defines an urban, congested urban spot from a satellite city? When we think about it, you have Navi Mumbai. Navi Mumbai was never made as it was made as an extension because they didn't have land. Mumbai has a very tricky thing. One side it's sea and the other side you have this swamp. So it was always like an island. So the extension was like, you go to the next land. That's where Navi Mumbai happened. If you look at the statistics, it's 344 square kilometers, 25 minutes from Mumbai, covering 86 villages and 16 lakh population, devised or designed to have a consumption of 29 lakh capacity, 29 lakh people population. You have example like Gurgaon, NCR, you have Noida. These are examples which are satellite cities to Delhi, which has 332. The figures you can read, but 30 kilometers from Delhi, 9 lakh population and more than 250 corporates. You have the same way you have New Town in West Bengal. You have examples of high-tech city in Hyderabad, which is on 200-acre, much smaller place, but again an extension with a lot of corporates coming in. You have Devanhalli, Karnataka. You have Magarpatta in Pune by a private developer. The earlier options are more or less done by the government. This is by a private developer. Smart guy. If you look at it, it's a super successful project. If you see the way it was conceptualized, it came much before its time. But today, it is a place. The real estate there is very high. But again, by a private developer, which is not a part of Pune, quite away, but yes, connected to Pune. And you have the gift city. Again, something that the government did. So here also, it's a fantastic proposition. And it can be a pilot to a lot of cities to come in. Sorry, I just went forward. One interesting international project. I was here 2 months ago. It is Forestias near Bangkok. This is designed by a DTGO company from Bangkok itself, from Thailand. And it is a 48-hectare township, which is around 30 kilometers from Bangkok city, near to the airport. The architects, the primary architects are Norman Foster. And I was very opportune and happy enough to be shown this project by the architects. This whole project is worth understanding. It's a township, privately owned township, which has everything. It has housing, it has commercials, it has helipads, it has healthcare, it has hotels, 7-star plus hotels. Very rich kind of thing, but what they're selling is forest. What they're selling is air. It's how you market, and whether you are sincerely thinking of giving that to the public. It's around 70% sold, Hitesh. And right now it is under construction stage. And they have done it so phenomenally well that they are selling. Bangkok doesn't have worse air. It doesn't have that bad air like what Delhi has. But still, they are selling them good life, good air. What they're selling is you can cycle to your office. That's what they're selling. Today, just to have an extension of the same, if you are able to reduce your time, of your travel time, say for example, you are changing your lifestyle to a very, very larger extent. These are those kind of developments which I think will ultimately give, make someone happy. So this is because it's done by Norman Foster. He has, wonderfully done, excellent landscape project. The way it is conceptualized, the way it is done. So what happens in a satellite township? It becomes self-sufficient with hospitals, schools, malls, railroad connections, community spaces, parks, water bodies, etc., etc. And such planned cities can ensure lesser congestion, better quality of air, lesser travel time, more social connect, better family time, lesser mental issues, and more fitness. Ultimately, what does one want? Improved quality of life. I'll tell you a very simple thing. I stay in Baroda. My office is 3 kilometers away from me. I cycle in 8 minutes. If I go by car, it takes 5 because of the traffic congestion. Hitesh stays 1.5 kilometers, not even 1 kilometer from his house. Look at the amount of travel time that is reduced. That time can either be put productively into your office or to spend with your family. If you are able to take care of that, if you are able to take care of that, I think a lot of solutions are there in front of us. So now, if we just move ahead, when I say satellite cities, we talk about the cities. Majority of states in India have one major city in their state. You talk of Maharashtra, only Bombay. Pune got developed very later. Third city, pata nahi. Nagpur kahin pe hai, Nasik kab pata upar aayega. They is not major, right? Any state you take, there is only one major city. That's where the centralized urbanization happens. Others haven't been given that choice. The same way, Gujarat has lot of towns, cities, villages. If we move ahead, that's the urban plan of Gujarat. It shows that Ahmedabad has the highest concentration, means a centralized kind of a development. The rest are relatively less, and you see these oranges, these are the second developed cities. It's not just one like Pune. There is Baroda, there is Surat, and there is a Rajkot region. So when we look at it, all these larger perspective of many cities culminate into a group of cities, which ultimately boil down to these 4 major cities. These all 4 cities, if you look at it from day one, have been segregated by their profession or by the trade in which they have developed. It could be textile, government offices, IT hubs, MNC offices, and manufacturing. Baroda always used to remain on education. So it's education, public sector, large units like IPCL, Petrophils, refinery, GSFC, stuff like that. Then we have the GIDC and the chemical industry. Surat always had textile, diamond trade, port, and manufacturing units, while Rajkot thrived upon the machining, tools, forging, jewelry, automobiles, casting. So this was a separated kind of a thing, because of which the urbanization didn't just get centralized. It got decentralized automatically. Whether it was planned, unplanned or it happened naturally, no one knows. But this is a good example to look at it. And now we have Jamnagar with the refinery coming there, Vapi with its GIDC again, Bharuch with its port, Navsari, Valsad, Bhuj, you name it. So there is a decentralization that has happened quite well in Gujarat. So having said that, what it means is, now at this point of time, we have good amount of upgradation of villages which is happening. All villages are relatively good. The cycles are getting replaced by the bikes, you have good roads, good infrastructure, the villages are having solar. I just learned that Modera is the first village of India to be solar powered. So we are going in the right direction. What this will eventually do, or what that will help us, is that people won't migrate unnecessarily. People will, and this COVID has probably taught us the best thing, you can work from home, and you can find the means by which you don't need to be physically there present unless necessary. And if these tools are done, then looking at it, at the mental level, the happiness quotient will be something that we need to focus upon. So I genuinely feel at this point of time, I just forgot about Sanand. Sanand is one such thing, that a village turned just by one nano plant, and it turned into a high real estate area. So you have to understand that just one change can turn the entire demography of a space, the same way as what GIFT City is going to happen, hopefully soon. You'll be surprised, Mohit, that the next world's mega cities, you see these three, it's Ahmedabad, Surat, and Pune, in the world's next mega city list. That is something that I came upon, and it's worth applauding for as well. We have 3 Indian cities being seen as the next mega cities coming very soon. So what do we conclude? We conclude, or rather I would say, that this decentralized urbanization is something that will reduce the extent of migration, and it will help the well-being of the population. When we say about the well-being of the population, you'll be surprised, friends, that India stands today 126th happy country out of 146. We are way down, way down. The happiest is Finland. You talk about the billion, trillion thing, they are nowhere there. Burma, nowhere there. They don't have money, but they are very happy. We are in a difficult rat race. Our richest people will have the worst health problems. We will get depressed. We will do suicide even if we have a Land Rover parking in the garage, because we are thinking about someone else who has 4 Land Rovers. So when are we going to get satisfied? Is this rat race because of which this happiness quotient is? So we need to question, what is that happiness that we need to know? Are we going to be content in what we have? Or are we going to always remain unhappy, even if we are going to be a 27 billion trillion economy that we are talking about? So the question is about the happiness quotient and how well we can improve upon it. Thank you.